Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today I had the new Eat, Play, Love scrapbooking paper pack from Close to My Heart. We are going to create a single page layout, and as you can see, this is a really vibrant paper pack. You could fussy cut these squares out and use them individually or as a whole. I love the cherries, that's my favorite. This one is pretty. You can see it has a kitchen vibe, but you can downplay that if you didn't want to use it for kitchen photos. Here is the coordinating sticker sheet available, and there's some title options, some border strips, little word phrases, and also these are my favorite. These little wooden veneers are adorable. I can't wait to create with these. Check out the little mixer, and there's a little cutting board and spoons, like a little rolling pin. Come on, guys. Who doesn't love these little miniatures? So cute. I, of course, am going to do my own thing, but I want to show you there is the workshop guide where you can create all these pre-designed layouts, and it gives you all the cutting dimensions and everything to put those together. And you get extra die cuts with the kit to make those pages. So I have these two photos of myself standing in my kitchen modeling an apron my mother-in-law made for me, and it has cherries on it. So yeah, I had to use this paper pack. You can see my little red mixer in the background too, and I wanted to tell the story of that. So I know I want my photos in this orientation here, but I'm going to add a little character to this strip of glacier paper. For those of you that may not be aware, Close to My Heart's cardstock has a white core, so you can do some really cool techniques with this. I am using my paper trimmer here, and I'm moving it just like 1/4 of an inch at a time, and I'm using my embossing stylus to just put lines into this cardstock. And you'll see what that looks like here in a moment. It just adds a lot of texture and interest to an otherwise plain piece of solid cardstock. So I've sped this up so you didn't have to watch the entire process, and I'll just finish this up here. So again, this is an embossing stylus. Some of the cutting guides have an embossing blade, and that works too. I just can't find mine. So this works well. It's super easy to do. So I want my lines raised. So when I'm done, I'm flipping that over, and it doesn't look like much now, but I'm going to add a little bit of sanding to reveal that white core so you can really see those lines we created. So I'm going to pull it off of my project and use a sanding block just to kind of lightly go over this and give it that cool distressing look and bring out that white core. So not only will I do, across the face of it, but then I'm going to turn the paper and do the edges as well to finish that off. So I think this looks really cool. It's super easy to do, and check out that texture. Each catalog cycle Close to My Heart has a mix-in paper pack, which is what I'm showing you here, and it has coordinating like bonus pattern papers that go along with the current collections. So I've used this red pattern paper here and gone ahead and cut down a strip just to blend or connect those two, and then I can bring in my photos. I feel like my photos are going to kind of fall off the paper, so it needs something to anchor them. There's this scalloped red border strip on the coordinating sticker sheet, and I think this is perfect. It's just what it needed. You can see how visually that's a lot more appealing. I want to bring in more of those fun pattern papers, so I've cut these into strips, and I'm going to dovetail the bottom half of these just by cutting up from the middle and then each corner, just eyeballing it. You don't need a fancy tool, and we'll repeat that process on all three. This heart pattern paper here is from the mix-ins as well as this red piece, but the floral sheet all the way on the right is from the Eat, Play, Love collection. So while I'm fussing with this little strip of paper here, if you guys are not already a subscriber, I would love to have you be a part of the Crafty Concepts with Erin community. This channel covers all things scrapbooking and card making, so if that is your thing, you are going to want to hit that subscribe button. So I was looking up on my die cutting wall, and I saw this doily thin cut, and I thought, ooh, that's perfect, because doilies to me kind of, I don't know, they seem kitcheny. So I'm going to tuck this under my photos and use this as an anchoring spot for my embellishments. I've pulled these floral images from the coordinating sticker sheet, and I'm going to create kind of a visual triangle around my photos. Of course, I have to use the mixer because these photos are the story of the mixer and the apron, so I didn't want to leave that out. And then I'm just kind of trying different stickers from the sticker sheet to see which ones I want. And of course, we cannot forget about these little wooden veneers. And then Close to My Heart also has these hearts that are the same wood hearts, and you get the outside as well as the inside, and they have varied sizes. So those are really fun. So I'm finding that I want to use all of these wooden veneer embellishments on my layout, but yeah, I think that would be overkill. So I'm just trying to pick the ones and narrow it down to help tell the story. So we still need a title for this layout, and I'm not really wanting any of the ones off the sticker sheet. So I grabbed my little stitch bracket thin cut here and pulled this stamp from my stash. It says Happiness is Homemade, and I don't think this is available any longer, but I'll double check. We're having a huge Stamptacular stamp sale, and they've pulled some older stamps, so I'll check for you guys, and if it is, I'll list it in the description box below. But a side note, you're going to want to check out that stamp sale because there are some screaming deals. So I've stamped my image, and it had kind of a distressed look to it, and I wanted a little bit crisper, so I'm taking my journaling pen and just filling in those distress lines, and no one will ever know. So I think that's going to look great there. Happiness is Homemade, but I want to add a little bit more to my title. I have this kind of just stash of different colors of twine, and I'm putting a glue dot on my workspace there, and then I'm just going to wrap this around my finger several times, and I'll roll it in the glue dot to kind of seal the ends together. Tangled thread is kind of fun to add, so you can do the same thing with string, ribbon, or twine. And so we'll just ball up the tails, and then I can tuck this underneath my embellishments, and it'll have just this pop of red, which adds color and texture to the area. So speaking of red, I have red accents in my kitchen. It's kind of gray and white with pops of red. So my mother-in-law made me this adorable apron, and I just love the cheerful red, and it's just so fun to wear. So I had taken these photos for her to show her how much that I loved it, and I was wearing the apron. The story of the mixer, now that belonged to my mom, and she has a tiny kitchen and just wasn't really feeling the whole cooking thing. So I'm like, hey mom, you're not using that mixer, and I kind of would like to try it out to see if it's something I would use often enough to justify the purchase. So can I borrow it? And of course, being the loving, giving mother she is, she let me borrow the mixer. Well, time went by and it kept slipping into the future. And one day I went over to her house, and there's a red mixer sitting on her kitchen counter. I'm like, Mom, what happened? Did you go buy another one? And she totally did. I was using the one I had so often, she didn't have the heart to ask for it back, and she decided she wanted to use it, and I felt so bad, but that is just totally my mom. She's very giving, always thinking of others, and she just gifted me the mixer that I had borrowed from her. Indefinitely, if you will. My poor mom, when we were little, we took her shoes and her clothes, and now that we're older, we steal her kitchen gadgets. I do love this KitchenAid mixer though. It's pretty awesome. So you'll notice I tried to adhere that title with some regular tape runner, and with the lumpy bumpy twine underneath, it just wasn't working. So I peeled it off, and I'm applying 3D foam tape, and that's just going to help smooth out the uneven spots underneath and look a lot better. So we'll add this little heart for a pop of red. And now I'm going to bring in some splatters. So I adhered this with temporary adhesive to my VersaMat. So I'm just going to lift that up and lay down my all-purpose mat, because this is super easy to clean and wipe up. And we're just going to add some red splatters with the Candy Apple Red Shimmer brush. So give it a good shake. I'm protecting the areas I don't want splattered, and I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. But if it's not saturated enough, you'll want to squeeze it out onto your all-purpose mat. Do not squeeze it over your clothes, and do not squeeze it over your project. Ask me how I know. I went ahead and added splatters to the lower right-hand area of the layout as well, and now I'm just adhering these wooden hearts with liquid glass. So I need to add some journaling to this layout, and I'm thinking that the Picture My Life cards are going to work well. I saw all these kind of little recipe cards and whatnot, so I've pulled out the smaller of the cards, and there's several with lines. So I'm just going to pull all of those options out and then see which one I want to use. This one I don't think is going to work because there's that orange color, and it's not really anywhere else on the layout. You can always flip these cards over, and they have the opposite orientation. One will be vertical, one will be horizontal. So lots of choices here, but I think that, yeah, I think the bottom one is going to look best. So I'm going to add my handwriting to this layout with my journaling pen here. And then I realize I am totally covering up all my splatters. So I'm going to bring back in that all-purpose mat and add the splatters before I put my journaling block down. I'm simply repeating the process of using printer paper to cover up the areas I don't want splattered, and then we will just add the splatter much further out. These shimmer brushes are fun because not only do they add color, but they add sparkle and shine also, which is difficult to appreciate on camera. But we're definitely got our splatters good and covered there, and I'm just holding that up to make sure that I have enough, and I think that's going to look good. So I decide to fit that underneath the little banner piece there and underneath the scallop borders, and then I can go ahead and add my journaling. So I'm just making sure to include who made the apron and the story behind the KitchenAid mixer that I completely hijacked from my mom. So it's good to add your own handwriting. I usually type up my journaling and cut it into strips or print it on vellum, and so this is kind of a nice change. I am going to add a little tape runner to the back of my journaling block, and we'll get this tucked into place permanently there. And make sure everything's straight, give it a good press. And there, this layout is done. And I love these bright colors. This is so fun. They're not necessarily colors that I would think to pair, but it totally works and I like it. Again, this is the Eat, Play, Love collection from Close to My Heart that's only available while supplies last through the month of April. I hope you guys were inspired by today's layout and you want to give that textured background technique a try. Here's some more videos I think you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.